We're going to talk about precedent. Precedent is a really important concept in the law because it means that courts have to follow what the courts have done before them. Where there is a decision that courts have created over time, that's what we call precedent. Precedent should not be easily overruled. We want to give a lot of weight and a lot of value to precedent. So it's something that we don't take lightly. It's something that courts really try to follow and adhere to. So we've got a situation in Arizona where we've got a young man named Jason. He's 17 at the time, and his parents borrow him their car. Now, I don't know what it was like for you when you were in high school. I know I couldn't afford my own car. I drove a car that my parents furnished for me. I suspect many of you did the same at first, that you drove the family minivan or something for a while. So Jason, his parents tell him, not to bring anybody home and just go out and then come right back in. But what does Jason do? You probably did the same thing. He goes out, he's driving his friends around, he eggs some homes, probably did that as well, and then he takes his girlfriend home. And on the way back, he gets into a terrible accident, and he injures a woman named Amy. And so Amy has got some long-term injuries, and she decides she wants to sue. Now, who do you sue? You always follow the money. Jason is 17. He's probably, who knows, maybe he's been a lifeguard or something. He's just made a little bit of money, and he's probably spent it right away. He's got nothing in the bank, right? So you sue Jason's parents because, hey, they furnished the car. They were responsible. They should have known what their kid was going to do. Now, I suspect that your parents probably didn't know all the things you did in your car or you did in someone else's car later on. And so the question here is that in Arizona, they have the family purpose doctrine. If you furnish a vehicle for your child, it's for the family purpose, and therefore the parents are held responsible for the family members that drive it. So the question before the Arizona Supreme Court here is this law fair? Do you think that if you did things that your parents wouldn't have wanted you to do or expressly told you not to do, that your parents should have been in trouble if you would have gotten into a car accident? So this is a tough situation because what Jason and his parents, the Becks, what they're arguing is that this law, the family purpose doctrine, unfairly punishes parents. That it's not fair for parents to have to be responsible for things their kids do because they can't control them, right? You can do your best, but you just don't know what they're going to do. And this is really difficult for parents because they're 16, 17, 18, and you don't want to be driving them everywhere. You want to give them the responsibility, teach them some responsibility, right, of caring for themselves, of driving themselves to school, driving their friends around, and maybe putting some boundaries on that, but you want your kids to start taking that responsibility at that age. So the Becks argue this unfairly punishes parents, and it particularly punishes wealthy parents because, like Amy, you're going to go after the money. And if the parents have some money, then you're going to bring the lawsuit. If it would have just been Jason and he was emancipated at 17, you wouldn't have anything to sue for, and there probably wouldn't be a lawsuit at all. So they're going after the parents because they've got money. So is this a fair situation? Well, some states have gotten rid of the family purpose doctrine. Arizona and some states still have it. And what the court wrestles with here is that this is a state, Arizona, that expressly has the family purpose doctrine. So it's unfair. I think the court is, maybe you find it fair, maybe you like the law, maybe you think it's the right and just thing to do, but the court is really struggling with whether it's relevant, whether it's valid, whether it's fair to parents. But what they say is that there is this rule of stary decisis. That's a Latin term that essentially means you must follow the precedent. And since we have the family purpose doctrine, and that's what courts have been following, we are supposed to adhere to it. The courts below it should keep adhering to it and not take the idea of overturning that law lightly. So the court says, if you want to change it, go write a new statute. But for the time being, we have to follow precedent. We have to follow this rule of stare decisis. So the Becks are on the hook. The family purpose doctrine stands.